Welcome everybody to NWSL Live, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Here we are once again. I'm Jordan Angeli. So excited to be here and to host. We have a golden show for you guys, really. I mean, it is so good. And Lori Lindsey is laughing at me already. So bring her in, bring in Jeff Kassouf, get the whole gang here. Do you think I can get a lot of gold puns in? Is that why you're laughing at me, Lori?
I mean, it's apparent that you're going to try at least.
You're going to do your best.
So I am going to do my best. Yeah. I really feel like this is the golden ticket for us to get our show on.
Tapped out.
Every week, just the consistency here. These are two special guests. Before we get to them, no NWSL this weekend. What did you guys do? Did you have a life? Like, what happened, Lori? Yeah. What were you doing? It looks like you were making cutoff shirts.
Yeah, you were working out, maybe?
You had a lot of jokes today, Jordy. I like it. Welcome back to the show. If for the viewers, Jordan wasn't here last week, and we really enjoyed it. So I'm just joking. Yes, I was making cutoff t-shirts, and actually, I did have the weekend off because I had two college games on Thursday and Friday, so it was a bit odd, actually.
Yeah,
I didn't even know what to do with myself, but it was lovely.
Good. You did some things for yourself, which is nice. Jeff, what'd you do? You probably watched some of those international games that were happening.
Kind of. I enjoyed the nice weather. We did some pumpkin picking, so
ooh,
there we go.
Are you going to be carving or painting?
No,
or what's
no, just
picking.
Put it in front of the door in a nice arrangement.
Okay, great.
That's it. Sounds very simple.
Lori, one thing we've been learning about Jeff as of late is his love for home decorating.
Well, I'm just the facilitator. I don't always. Yeah, I leave most of that to Leah.
Yeah. Okay.
How's the weather up there, Jeff?
Perfect.
Right now, I was going to say now it's beautiful.
Completely perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Some would say it's golden.
Oh boy.
Almost golden hour. Okay, I'll stop. I really will. But you guys, we're so excited today because we've been waiting pretty patiently because there's a big tournament this summer. The Olympics went down and Canada took home gold medal, and we get two Canadians with us right now. So let's just bring them in. Let's bring in Evelyne Viens and Kailen Sheridan to the program. So excited to chat with these two gals from Gotham. Yeah, do we need a stand? Do we need to give them a standing ovation? Because gosh, it's so good to see you guys. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, we're great. Welcome to NWSL Live. As you can tell, it's pretty intense and we really hit the hard-hitting questions. We don't want to laugh at all. But in all seriousness, what an honor. I think first and foremost, people are going to want to know, like, where's the gold medal? Do we need to wear them the entire show? I feel like we might need to. What do you guys think?
Well, we do like a sneak peek, but we're not the type to keep wearing it. I don't know why. What's wrong with us?
Oh my goodness. Can anybody do the anthem, the Olympic anthem, hum it while we see this close up?
Speaking of which, how heavy is this particular medal? Because I asked because I was calling an LSU game and Alicia Chapman had just gone back to her alma mater to speak with the group, and they were all ranting and raving about how heavy the medal is and they couldn't get over it.
It's pretty heavy.
I feel like that just holding it like, oh my god, it's so heavy. That's the most common comments you can get.
Yeah.
So
I've had a few people tell me it's the heavier one of the past, but I don't know.
Cannot tell you.
I had the real.
I cannot tell you.
You would need something to. I guess you're just gonna have to get another one, right?
It's like the thing. Yeah, we'll just get another one, and then we'll do another side by side. And we'll give you a clear answer in 3 years.
Yeah, it seems right. If you guys are watching on Twitch, make sure you send in some questions. We'll make sure to get to some of those as we talk to Kailen and Evelyne here. But I'll get us rolling and we'll kind of all ask you a bunch of different questions, but it was a wild Olympics on so many different levels. How do you guys feel like, I know this is your first Olympics. You were alternate, Kailen, right? In the previous, but how do you feel like, and what did you, when you talk to other people, how did this differ from other ones, and what made this one unique? Because man, it seems like there's a lot of things that were special about this.
Yeah, for sure. I think almost everything was different. There was just, the day to day was completely different from when I was in Rio, at least. And there was just so many different restrictions to keep us safe and to keep everybody in Japan and all the athletes safe, which went smoothly and was really effective. But it definitely takes a different toll on you as an athlete in a competition and in a tournament setting where, you know, you're so focused on the tournament, but at the same time you need those little outlets, and we had to really search for them, and that made a big difference in this one. And I think that's one of the biggest differences through the two that I can compare, at least. And honestly, it's such an intense environment, but we have such an amazing group of people. We were so lucky that I think it was so helpful that we had the group that we did, because it made it so much easier for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like, speaking of restrictions, I had the pleasure to talk with you, Kailen, leading up, just for broadcast purposes and like trying to get the inside scoop, but that was more for on-field stuff. But, you know, I think a lot of teams have reiterated how difficult it was throughout, because talking about like not having that outlet, like if things weren't going that well on the field, then you're just like ruminating in your hotel room, essentially, because the restrictions were so tight. So any fun stories, any fun untold stories that you can tell us here that kind of kept you all going?
I think we have many, but I think the best one is like,
Yeah.
I don't think the whole team knows it too, is during the closing ceremonies, we had some girls, I think Sinky and other girls just went to do interviews, and we were just going one entrance, and they lost us. In fact, they lost the Canadian people. So they got in this closing ceremony with another country. So they walked with another country, and they walk out. They were like, we need to find the Canadian people. So they found us 30 minutes after. So they walked twice to the closing ceremonies.
Oh, and Sync was in that mix?
I think she
so.
was, but we need to ask
Typically
her.
when there's interviews involved, it's safe. So it's a safe bet for us.
Yeah.
She's playing it cool on surface. Meanwhile, though, she's like causing trouble underneath.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. And just thinking back to when I was at Youth World Cups, like you do spend a lot of time in your hotel room, and you guys, that's really all you did. Was there anything like, were you guys playing games? What were you doing to pass the time? Because that's a lot of time to pass in between games. I know it was a speedy tournament, but was there anything else happening in the hotel?
Oh yeah. There was like Love Island group.
Yeah.
Oh.
And someone kind of just went on her own way.
Well, it got very busy. People were hard to track down between film and treatment. I had to watch it on the side.
Yeah. TV shows. We played some games.
We played some Mario Kart. We played some.
Yeah.
There was a big tournament. We had a lot of birthdays and celebrations and big life things that had happened to people while we were away. And it was big. So we would like celebrate together in the little ways that we could in the meal room, in our own seats, in the same chair you sit in every single day.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Were you guys at the same, you're talking at the meals, you had like specific seats, right?
Yeah.
Who were at your meal seats? Who were your pals at your tables?
Us, we did it like differently, because we had,
we had like a shield. So each seat was shielded on both sides, and it had like 5 people at the table. So for the first week and a half when we were in Japan, we had to stay with the same people. I had Desi, I think Deanne.
Yeah, I had who?
And then we kind of switched it up, which was helpful. But then I can't even reiterate how hard it was to talk through these barriers. Like, hear the person beside you. So we would have this barrier, and if I wanted to talk to Ev, we'd be like,
yep.
Yeah.
And if it's better to talk with the person in front,
like on an angle.
You cannot try to talk with those people on
you can't hear anything. So
I did like a can, like a can and a string.
We'd be like leaning forward and backwards, like standing up during the meals to talk to people. Just the person beside you is something else. But I mean, there's like funny stories. Like there's so many things that got like misunderstood. It keeps you fresh.
Yeah. It's like a funny game of telephone.
It's the longest game of telephone I've ever played.
But I never want to play again.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness. Jeff, go ahead, jump in
I think
there.
that's the second Mario Kart reference we've had this summer. I don't remember who else. We had another show. There was like one of the teams had a really big Mario Kart competition. We got another question from one of the fans listening and watching, and wonder if there were any other competitions besides that the team got into.
There was like a group doing origami, like learning origami, like every other day or so they would do a new animal and they would like put it and people would vote on whose was the best.
Yeah. I
never won.
I did it. I did it.
Mine was always like a rolled up piece of paper.
I got impatient for a while and I just quit. But
I was gonna say, who's the most patient person? That's who won that competition.
Yeah,
Jessie was the best.
She was a teacher. She was the leader.
She does seem like she has a calm presence.
Like, yeah, she's okay with like long periodic tasks. I, on the other hand,
get it done.
Yeah, you're like, we're shooting this in the basketball court.
Being the terror.
Love it. Love it. We've got another question. We're going to stick on the Olympics. Sandy Sandoval from Twitch wants to know if you can be in any other Olympic sport, which one would you choose? There was some intense ones. I don't know if you guys watch table tennis at all, but the way that they stared that ball down.
I got into it.
It was all like all
China versus Japan in the final was wild.
Yeah.
I think I'd be a swimmer.
I said, I think I'm going to be a swimmer. I cannot swim.
No, you can't be a swimmer.
Let me get a winter sport.
To say winter.
Oh, yeah. Speed
skating. I want to do that. You can have that.
Ooh.
Speed skating does look like fun. Listen, I'm in for the skateboard. And the shirts that started to pass around, which were like, skateboarding is a crime, not Olympic sport, were like is my favorite.
Who was doing that?
No, they just made, because you know, so many people, like, skateboarding has always been banned everywhere. It's like, do not skateboard on this fountain, do not this. And so there's just these shirts that had been made that were like, skateboarding is a crime, not Olympic sport.
It was so cool though. That and like the surfing.
Yeah, awesome.
Really cool.
Yeah.
I got really into, I don't know, the Paralympics came on and I was watching the triathlon. It's so cool. I am amazed by every single one of them.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Yeah, love it.
We also got another question as can any of us speak French to Evelyne? And that's a no.
I've got something for you, Evelyne.
Oh, I can't. Something that's gonna
feeling of what she's gonna say.
I can't wait. What is it? Do you like the color?
Paul, genou et pied, Paul, genou et pied, les deux yeux, on est, ou la bouche, les deux oreilles. That was so good.
No,
that's not where I think you were going with it. But.
No, I was like, what are you going to say? I need to understand it, but that was good.
Jordan, we were in France for like 6 weeks and that never came out.
Yeah, it didn't. I know. I held that from you. Sorry.
You held that for this exact moment. If in the future there's a show called NWSL Live, I can.
Oh
my goodness.
You guys are getting chased by that golden.
Yeah,
I know. It'll just follow you around now because that's what you are. So there's been a lot of chatter about this Canadian team, right? Let's get into some seriousness here and the quality you guys have had over the years and being amongst the top teams in the world. And you guys finally did it, right? You found your way to being at number one, getting that gold medal. How would you describe the mindset of the team as you went into this tournament? And has it always been there? Has that belief always been there? Or did this feel a little bit different? Did this feel like, all right, we really can do it this time?
I think that like being a new player for sure you can add up after, but I think the first time we met in February for the She Believes Cup, we said, let's change the color of the medal, and we actually believe in it and we actually like wanted to do it. So we all put the work in and every game was just a step toward the good direction. And I think that when we got in the Brazil game and just going forward in the States, and we just believe in it and wanted to do it as a team, and if we look overall, I know that like with COVID and everything what happened, we wanted to change the color of the medal and do it for every Canadian back home cheering us up.
Yeah, I think like for the amount of time that I've been on the team, the belief has always been there, and we've always known how good we are and how good we're capable of being, and the amount of talent that we have on the team. And we've always truly believed in, been like, we've always talked about how incredible this team can be and how we need to show it, and we need to deserve it, and we need to go out there and put the performances in that we know we're capable of. And I think we've missed the mark a few times, and that's only led us to learn and grow and create this opportunity for us to step higher and change the color of the medal. And so I think that belief is not something that we've lacked or has never been there. And I think sometimes we like, oh, if you believe it, you can achieve it and all that corny stuff. But we've always believed it. People always believe. And I think the biggest thing is that every time you do it and you get knocked down, you believe again. It's not over. Just because you believed it once doesn't mean because you failed. I think this was our biggest time, and we came in and everybody truly did believe again. And we got knocked down in the World Cup, and we knew we were capable of way more than that. And this was our opportunity to show it again, that we know how good we can be. And this team should be in the top competition to be named number one.
Yeah.
And then, you know, before you had to win the gold medal, 20 years since you had beaten the United States. Well, let's talk about that, because that would have been extremely emotional, I think, even before you would step on the field for that gold medal match. So what was kind of the pregame talk before that? What was that like going in?
I think there was so much chatter about that game and just the indications and the implications of everything that had led up to it, and kind of like there were so many little things going around, like mirrors of 2012, little things like that, you know, like things kind of that don't help in any way. This is an independent game, and this is a game. I know there's the 20 years, you know, whatever of not winning. That's all great, and we can celebrate that after. But this was our game. Like we could say great things like, all right, streak done, ended, and let's never get that happen again. But like this is the only game that matters in our career right now, and no matter what we want to compare it to or draw motivation from, this is an opportunity for us to go for the gold and change the color for real. This is the only game that matters right now. And all those kind of things we had to really as a team come together and block out, and or decide what is going to be my motivating factor, what is going to help me become the best player in this game for the team. So as much as that is a powerful game, I think at the end of the day, whoever was on the field against us, that was the game that was going to change the color. Yeah. And it was leading up to that next game where we could make that happen. I think there was so many emotions afterwards because of what it meant, and the other side of just the Olympics, the women who were on the team in 2012 who just came short, that was huge for them. People who've been on the team for 20 years and never won. There's people who have not had that feeling yet and have finally accomplished that. And it was just emotional to be there with everybody and feel it with them.
Looking at all the veterans that finally beat the States, I think that was what I would remember forever, like how happy they were, and like they were going to have the chance to play for the gold medal in 4 days. So that was for sure one night to remember, and just being able to share that with veteran and younger player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting that like on all these major tournaments, a team that goes on to win it, or even maybe a final. Lori, I always think about 2011 and like the story about Pia with that quarterfinal game that, you know, everybody thought was a final, and then you still had to play 2 more games to get there. And like every champion along the way has something like that, where, you know, the emotion of that semifinal for you all, and then you've got to turn back around and do it in the gold medal game again, which I guess maybe I'll kind of integrate one other fan question that we had here, just about like how tough the conditions were, because that gold medal game, it got moved, you know, a lot, obviously the heat and humidity, and then you're coming off the emotion of that. You all win that. I mean, what was that moment like in the moment, and just how tough that was, kind of the quick turnaround and being at the end of that game every couple days streak. And maybe on the fun side, we're wondering, with all these restrictions, like how did you get to actually celebrate? What did that look like?
I think after the States, we actually enjoyed the night, but the day after we said, let's get the job done. Like, let's finish this job and let's get this gold medal. And I think we were able to actually at that point we went into the village. So we had 1 day off of freedom for the Olympics. So we walk around outside the first time in 3 weeks, I would say. So I think that was such needed. And after we started focusing on Sweden and just, of course, like the time change of the game and everything, but I think the girls were just so ready to go in and just give everything for to make history. So I think that was good. And celebration.
Yeah, I mean,
The
the game got moved like 10 times to us. Like it was supposed to be at 11 a.m. or something like that, and then it got moved and it got moved again, and we were just getting these little tidbits of like, oh, it could be moved to this time, it could be moved to that time, and at all the entire time we kept getting messages, from our leadership group, from our captain, from our coaches being like, no matter when this game is, we're prepared. If it's at 6 a.m. tomorrow, you're ready. And it was just really having that focus and really locking in what our needs were leading up to that game, no matter what time it was going to be at, and making sure that we were super ready, regardless of the time. Have the protocol set in place. Have your schedule ready. So whatever time we get set in, you know what you're doing for the next 12 hours leading up to it, and having that and letting them deal with all the unfun stuff of moving stadiums and times and all of that, and just being as ready as possible individually. But I think the best part of the celebration afterwards, I mean, it was at 9 p.m. So we were at the stadium until probably 2? Midnight. Yeah. No, yeah, 2. I don't know. No, we got back around 2 already. And I think, we were like, what do we do? Like, it's 2 a.m. Like, what do we do? And we all were like hanging out and just having a good time, like celebrating our medal. And we went I think individual, like in groups, we kind of ended up all walking down to the rings, which is like right by the water, and sitting there together by accident, all together as a group, coaches, players, everybody. And the sun rises at like 4 a.m. in Japan. So we watched the sunrise together with our gold medals by the rings, by the water. It was pretty magical, and it was like completely by accident on plan, which was more special.
That's cool. That's really cool. And then when you got back here, did you get to do anything fun? Evelyne, I saw you were at a Club de Foot game.
Yeah, so I went home for a week, and it was so fun, so intense, but just being able to like share like time that I spent in Japan with my family and share about it and see my friend. But I went to an MLS game in Montreal, and I think that's when I realized that we won a gold medal. Like people would stop and like congrats and tell me the story and how they watch a game. So I was so lucky to live that with my family and friends at home.
Yeah. And Kailen, I saw you at the Red Bulls game with your parents, and it's a lot, right? You expect the Olympics to have your family there and have that moment of celebrating in the stands, and not that you guys didn't make those moments special with each other, but a big reason why we're there is the people that have supported us. So it's nice that you both got those moments.
Yeah, definitely. It was incredibly special to share it with them. And I got to go home 2 weeks ago and celebrate with the entire family, which is even more special. And, I think I feel like it's bigger for them. Like it's so huge when you get to go home and celebrate with them. And like, I want to give it to them. Like I want each of them to have one, because like they're just each a part of it so much, and you can't really share it verbally sometimes. And I just want to be able to like give it to them, and so it was really special to be able to share.
That's awesome. Okay, one last thing before we go. We got a couple questions about Gotham, and this is a good transition because we've noticed, we've been taking notice, the fashion runway that happens at Gotham games is a real thing. And I don't know, there's been a lot, we've seen some good outfits, but I do think the kimonos that you guys sported with the belt accessory might be the best. I mean, can you just talk us through this outfit choice and when this came to be?
So we were in this hotel in Japan.
Wait, there was like so many games while we were gone, and the fits were just like fire every game. We were like, wow, like what, when we go back, like we're gonna be swamped. Like we don't have any way of catching up.
And in the hotel at the Hilton, they had like this kimono, so we didn't know it was a gift or just you can just take it or just. So we just took it.
Yeah.
And we gotta do something with it. And when we got home, I was like, okay, it's time to wear it, and we got the gold medal. And in fact, Naho helped us to like.
Naho helped us wear it properly.
She looked at us, she was like, no, you're wearing it wrong. So she fixed it. And yeah, I think that was my best game day outfit.
Yeah, that's definitely one for the books.
Gosh, it's so good. Also, I love that Naho helped you. I just feel like she might be the sweetest person. I've never met her,
She's
but just
literally
really
the
feels.
sweetest person on earth. Like
Yeah.
I walked into the locker room and she was like, "Oh no. let me fix." And she was like, "Go back out."
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Well, it looks good. It was a good way to come back in with some style.
Yeah.
And
Just
also, we will not send this to
Japanese
the.
flavor.
What'd you say?
Little Japanese flavor. We had to bring it back.
We won't send this segment to the Hilton in Japan, so they know that you have the kimonos.
That's exactly what we're doing right after this.
Maybe they'll send us a better one.
All right, just a handful of games left to go in this season for you all. What's the mindset like? How's everyone doing? How's everyone feeling?
We're ready to go. It's been our last game against Kansas City got postponed for October, so it's been 3 weeks. We're working with the new head coach Scott, and we're just really excited to go back at it this weekend against NC and just like we work on some small details and we're ready to show it and get this win.
Yeah, I think we're super excited to finish out the season. I think there's so much growth from this team in the past couple weeks, even with the new entries, and Bev and Sky have been amazing so far, and we can't wait to like get back on the field with them. We haven't had the opportunity yet, so we're excited for that. We have an opportunity to make a run for the playoffs, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah, you all came back, a couple different teams with coaching changes during the Olympics, which has got to be a different experience for you, kind of probably getting a text or something. It's who knows what hour about it while you're in the Olympic tournament. But I mean, have you noticed any sort of, differences in terms of style or anything as you've kind of reintegrated with the team, with the new coaching staff?
Yeah, for sure. Of just like being you have the same keeper coach, but like for me, with Scott is just bringing something different and just working on some small details offensively, defensively, and like I have the chance to work with Bev, a former player that was an amazing striker. So I'm just really happy to share like some small details, just how my run, my finishing. So I think we're going to hopefully look really sharp this weekend and get the win. But I think Scott is bringing a good energy for the team, and everyone is just really wants to make the playoff run.
Love it. You guys not only get to play with one of the best in Christine Sinclair on your national team, but you get to play with one of the best with Carly Lloyd on your club team. I mean, I feel like you've gotten.
We got both sides. Yeah. We're like, let's go, so we'll go from here.
Right. Her retirement game tour is happening. That game on CBS Sports Network in Philly in just a few weeks. Have you guys planned? I know you were away when we talked about this with other people, but it seems to me that they did. I know you saw your Gotham girls doing Olympics. You guys are good at planning parties. Have you planned something, or is it in the works how you're going to send Carly Lloyd off into whatever life brings to her next?
I can't say that on this. Are you crazy?
But you can say that. Is there a plan?
I mean, it's one of the greatest pair of all time. So
there's a plan, everybody. All right. We'll give you our addresses off air so you can invite us.
October.
Right. Well, it's been fun to talk to you guys. We've got one game for you. Can you stay with us a little bit longer? I know we've talked to you for a long time, but you're in. Okay.
It's like yeah, why not? We've already started here.
Why not? We'll just keep hanging. We did a little digging on some photos and felt like you guys know each other pretty well. And we just wanted to do like a caption this photo contest between the two of you, and people can choose who captions the photo better. Do you like this?
We give it a go.
Yeah, give it a go. Okay. So, I stole photos from your Instagram because that's what one does when this happens. So, Cole, why don't you hit us with that first photo here? I believe this one is for Evelyne. Yeah, Evelyne, can you caption this for us, please?
Oh my God, I'm so scared because normally I always ask my friends to caption my picture. So that's the beginning. But that's image. Oh my God, Kate, what was your caption?
What would you caption?
The ball, smiling, it's on the line.
Oh my God, oh my God, that's on the spot. Anyone has any idea to help me out?
First thing that comes to your mind, go.
When I'm in the wave in Seattle. Really on the beach. We went to Seattle before camps, and it was like the heat wave.
We went for the heat wave.
Kailen she was laying like that. Couldn't move.
I like it. That's good. That's good. I think that you asked something good too, Evelyne, there, that if you need to phone a friend, you can ask one of us three and we can help in and bring assistance. Okay. Next picture. This one is for Kailen to talk about Evelyne. Give us your best caption.
Mom, look, they don't know I'm down here.
That's a good one. Said just like that too.
Just smile and wave,
Okay.
boys. I'm sticking with smile and wave, boys.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's good. Really awesome. Okay, Evelyne, you got another chance here. We're gonna give you this photo of Kailen celebrating on the sideline.
When she goes to the club, that's our dance move, Kailen. She always dance.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's not celebrating. She's at the club on the sidelines.
Yeah.
I'm
When the beat drops at the club.
She missed going to the club before COVID. So.
Yeah.
You're at Sisters in Philly.
Oh my gosh. So good. Okay. Good job, Evelyne. I feel like you really nailed that one. Last one. Kailen. I know this is both of you, but
No.
Mom, there's no chocolate in here.
Yeah.
You're good.
There's no chocolate in there.
I think
gosh, a lot of moms. Moms are coming up a lot.
I talked to my mom, so like, yeah. Usually I'm like, Mom, look what I learned.
Yeah, that's good. Mom, there's no chocolate in these.
Lori, there's no chocolate. Fix it.
Good.
You're supposed to have this ready for us.
I need chocolate.
Yeah. For real, they're chocolate. Let's go with that one.
you're pretty good. I'm going to text you next time.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Now you know that.
It's made out of like phones. Maybe I dialed somebody by biting on it.
Okay.
Well, thank you guys for playing. I felt like that was just a fun game. We're trying to do, we get teammates on, try to do something that keeps it interesting. And if you need to block it, just use your gold medal to reflect the sun away from you right now. Okay.
From the gold lighting.
Yeah.
Eye patch.
Thought you'd get a few more in.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thanks for sharing so much, not only about the Olympics, but about Gotham. It was wonderful to have you. And yeah, we wish you the best of luck through this end stretch of the season. Should be a good one so for everyone watching, make sure you tune in and catch some Gotham games. So thank you.
Wait, real quick, Kailen, do you have a huge contingency coming to the Philly game, October 6th?
You know, it has nothing to do with me, right? But
right.
Yeah. Yes, there will be a large contingency again.
The Sheridan squad.
The Sheridan squad, hopefully, yes. That's the plan. Carly and I are planning on getting like the 18 out of the 18 500 sold. So we're working on it together.
Okay, awesome. I love it.
We told Gotham all they got to do is really get 500 people. That's all we can do.
Perfect.
Lori's got 500 for us.
Yeah.
I'll take care of 250 out of that. Okay.
Lori's like knocking on doors. Have you heard?
Hi. Have you heard about Carly Lloyd?
I'm putting flyers in the doors, everybody. I'll do my part.
Oh, all right. Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Good luck this weekend, and thanks again for all your time.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to be back. I'm going to see what Jeff and Lori think about this stretch run and who's pushing for the playoffs. So we'll be back with NWSL Live in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody. Good conversation with Kailen and Evelyne. Fun to chat with them about Tokyo, about how difficult that was, how amazing it was. And then it sounds like there's a party planned, and I'm going to need the invite to this Carly Lloyd party. I did tell her, as we bring Jeff and Lori back in, I did tell her after the U.S. women's national team game on, gosh, what night was that? Thursday night. If she needs a PA announcer for anything in her life, she knows who to call. And she looked at me and she said, "That was you?" Like, yes, that was me doing PA when you scored 5 goals for the US team and broke a lot of records, tied a lot of records. To which she giggled and she said, "You did a great job." So
and another one,
Carly. So that was a fun conversation. I really enjoyed having those two gals on. But there's NWSL happening this weekend, and a lot of games and a little bit of time here as this is the stretch run into the playoffs. So we've brought our minds together and thought, how could we make this interesting? And I love this. Jeff came up with, let's talk about these teams that are on the bubble, right? These teams that could make the playoffs, maybe sit in those last 2 spots that they're not going to make the playoffs. So we really narrowed it down to 4 teams. So you guys want to talk through these teams and say some of the stuff that needs to happen for them to make that playoff run. So let's start with the team of the hour. Let's bring Gotham in, and we're going to just take a look at their schedule, what they have left. Some tough, challenging games in the midst of this. They played North Carolina twice, which is never an easy task. But Jeff, when you're thinking of this Gotham team, who are you keying into? Okay, if they do find themselves in one of those last 2 playoff spots, because above that, it's pretty, not that they can't catch there, but it's really those last 2 that we're looking at. Who's making the push? Who's giving you the performances that they need in order to get into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think defensively that's been a strong suit and a strength throughout the season. So I think certainly on that offensive end, we've seen Ife Onamono doing quite well throughout the season. So, I think they've obviously dealt with some injuries in this stretch that I think has affected some things. The biggest thing for me, honestly, with Gotham, if we look at these kind of bubble teams, quote unquote, is most amount of points on the board here, because most number of games left to play. They had one of these games moved back into October. So
right.
7 games to play, I think, is an opportunity. But, you look at the date here and it's 7 games to play between now and Halloween. That's a high demand too. So I think this is a manageable schedule. You look at, none of the games in this league are easy, but I think this is a manageable schedule, especially compared to some of the other teams we're going to look at. But I think the real question there is, to the point of offensive production too, like how healthy is the team in this stretch run? And that's going to be a big point of getting through 7 games basically in 5 weeks.
Yeah. Lori, you want to add, or you want to go the next? Should we go the next?
Well, I'll just add, the only thing is I'll be curious, because they even said it, Kailen and Evelyne, about having 3 weeks off with that game being moved. So I think it's a very interesting time, because some teams handle that well, other teams don't. I think for Gotham, they needed that break.
Yeah.
One, because they started dropping points. They had been on a successful run. Then they started dropping points, and then obviously bringing in a new coach with Scott Parkinson and Bev Giannis. It seems to be there's like a real good energy around the team. So I think that could have come at the right time. So I'll be curious, but it'll be a big test against North Carolina, as we all know, this weekend. But no better than to test you against a team that's proven themselves in this league. So
yeah,
it'll be fun.
And that's a lot of games. That's the thing that I think is just the depth that you need to have to play that many games in such a short amount of time. So we'll see what they got. Next up, we've got Houston Dash, 3 points behind Chicago, game in hand. What do you think about this schedule, Laura? I'll start with you. When you're looking at the Dash, and had a great 2020, won the Challenge Cup, and then this year it's been a very, can I say, up and down season. They've had moments, but there's been a lot of difficulties for this squad too. When you're looking at this stretch run of these opponents, I mean, they have to play, probably the toughest game in there is against Portland. There's points to be had, but also, there's a couple games against Portland. There's points to be had, but also they're going to need some players to step up if they're going to find one of those spots.
Yeah, I think that's what's been kind of interesting. They have boggled me the most, I think, out of really any team, because they say a lot of the right things, and you want to get behind them, and then the performances aren't there, right? They're getting rid of you know, or they're leaking goals unnecessarily sometimes, and it just hasn't been the same production that we've seen. And Rachel Daly's been good on the attacking side, but I think that's the problem in the years past outside of 2020, is too predictable, right? If you could shut down Rachel Daly, then there's no one else in to help with production and goal scoring. So yeah, you need to see Nichelle Prince is really coming into her own, but can she start to get finding the back of the net? Can Christy Mewis and Shea Groom be as dynamic as they were last year? That helped them a ton. So those are question marks. But listen, this is not an easy schedule. You played the Thorns twice. You played North Carolina once. Racing Louisville, who has looked, still strong throughout the campaign, even though that they haven't been at the top of the table ever. And then Kansas City, who's starting to win some games and turn some things around. So, and then Washington, I think that right now that team is very much in limbo on what the rest of the season could look like, but still not going to be an easy task that last game of the season. So this is a tough one for me, because nothing about this season with this team has been convincing. So therefore I'm not convinced that this is a team that's getting in.
There go.
Yeah.
Well, I might have to ask for some final predictions then at the end of this, but Jeff, I'm going to move us on. I'm going to go to the Spirit next and just show the Spirit schedule. Also, do you like how I took these schedules from their websites? I feel like you're getting a little glimpse at all the different teams and the way that they use their schedules on their websites. Spirit is just, they've got a game at hand. This is something where they've got, that game against Gotham. They have to play OL Reign, which they've been playing really well. What's it going to take for the Spirit squad to overcome some obstacles that they've had and find a way into the playoffs?
Yeah, look, I mean, no getting around. It's been a tough stretch, for them in many ways, and obviously in the standings with back-to-back forfeits. And I think, a big thing here, we look at tiebreak scenarios. Goal difference is the second one here. So 3-0 in each of those is not too helpful. But I think relating that Houston point, you look at current standings, level on points, Houston and Washington, but Spirit sitting ahead because of head-to-head. And these two teams ending their season on Halloween there on that final weekend, Spirit versus Dash, I think, we could be looking at that as a potential playoff decider, as a potential certainly standings decider with the head-to-head tiebreaker. So, I think that's the game to circle amongst them. But yeah, I mean, first and foremost, have to get on track. I think you've got a bit of a trap game there, as Lori said, with how Kansas City's been certainly better than I think their record suggests. And, really long layoff here now for the Spirit because of the break plus everything that happened. And then you come in and play Kansas City first. I think that's going to really define which direction they go.
Yeah. This is but for them to be in 6, is that correct? Yeah, 6 for these forfeits is remarkable. What? I'm keep going.
Well, I don't keep going.
I mean, course correct, but keep going.
And just makes you think. And the way this entire year has been, you do think that it's going to come down to that October 31st Halloween day games where it's just going to be weird things are going to happen and teams are going to get in or get out, and those two last couple playoff spots are going to still be up for grabs because it's been so tight. And the last team that we feel like is in this bubble scenario, Lori, is the Chicago Red Stars. This is a team who has stability, and a lot of the players that they have pushed to be the top in the best of the best. They look maybe the most poised to make that next run. What do you like about the Chicago team, and why do you feel like if they do find those, what would they have to do to find one of those spots?
Yeah. Well, what I've liked is that they've stayed fairly consistent. I think there's been a really slow, gradual uptick throughout this season for them. I mean, I was one of those players that were people that were a little bit doubtful at the beginning of the season because I just was not impressed and not enthusiastic about their style of play. But they continue to click as a unit during some of the important times when players were away for the Olympics and through some injuries. And I think really what I think could be a big catalyst for them headed in is Mal Pugh going in with the national team right now. I think that's going to be a huge confidence boost for her. And I think she's going to come back and continue to perform and maybe even see more goals from her. And this is a team that's experienced, right? They're experienced in these situations, sneaking into the playoffs, then finding themselves in the semis. Right. So I think, and when you're looking at a lot of these teams that we're talking about, that is key out of all of them. That will come down to just their understanding of what it takes to win games at this level.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's just say those 4 teams. There's 2 spots left. Let's go in final prediction time. I'm going to ask both of you, who do you think out of those 4 teams gets those final spots? Who's 5th? Who's 6th at the end of the year? Jeff.
We're waiting each other out.
Lori predicted like the whole Olympic lineup. So
she did, yes.
Maybe she's good at this whole prediction thing.
Well, I would say that I would just add to the Chicago bit there. I think that's the toughest schedule of the 4 we talked about. With you got Orlando twice, Portland, Kansas City being a trap game, rain. So I think that's the toughest schedule. I do, as far as talent goes, I guess maybe I'm sticking to maybe this is like, I don't know if it's confirmation bias or what. I do think Houston should be there. And I have thought that from the beginning. So I think Houston makes it happen. And I think Chicago probably, despite, I would say, the toughest schedule, with the experience and consistency, keeps that playoff streak going. I mean, I think well, I shouldn't say the biggest wild card is Gotham, because Spirit, I think we really need to see what's going on. But I think Chicago and Houston of the 4 are the 2 that get in.
Okay. I was going to say, you tried to sneak a 3rd one in there.
No, I can't.
Not letting you do it.
Not allowed.
Lori?
Okay, well, I agree with the Chicago. And I think that Houston dash pick is interesting. However, I do think with this coaching change, I'm going to go with Gotham. I would like, being, a former player at Washington, I would like to see them turn things around. I just don't know if they have enough of that leadership to do it at this point in time. And not just off the field. Sorry, I have a major itch in my eye. But and on the field, I think they might be too young to dig themselves out of this situation they've got themselves in. Yeah. So I am going to go with Chicago and Gotham.
Yeah, that was going to be mine too as well. So Jeff,
good luck.
If you win, then you win all of, everything. I don't know what everything is, but that's what you would win. It might just be a whole lot of nothing, but you would win bragging rights between us too.
Yeah, exactly. So we will sing your praises. Okay.
Okay. Thanks for playing that game, and we'll be back. NWSL action all through the weekend. Those games on Paramount Plus. Check them out. And gosh, that was almost an hour. That went fast. Thanks to Kailen, Sheridan, and Evelyne Viens for coming and chatting with us. And thank you guys for watching. Jeff, Lori, it's been real.
Thank you. What a fun show.
All right. And thanks to our producer, Cole. He does magic behind the scenes, so we appreciate him. We'll see you guys next week.